Greetings, YouTube. I just got done live streaming. Happy Tuesday night or Wednesday morning across the pond. And I see I've got this notification in my inbox. Now, I am asked from time to time to review the monthly calendar. And since January, I have not wanted to waste a second of the community's time by reviewing basically the same calendar every month, because why review it? But May had a chance to be different. If you have been sleeping under multiple rocks, Patrick Star style, you would have maybe missed the fact that Avengers Endgame, after just its opening weekend, had a record $1.2 billion in the box office. And before we look at this message, we also have to remind ourselves the all too important fact that when it comes to the actual content this month, it has been a letdown. In fact, when we got the message that the bounty missions were ending, I actually got a little sad. Bounty missions have quickly become a top 5 side quest event, maybe even a top 3 to me, right up there with things like the Intel store, where you have a guaranteed chance to buy items with your Intel, and even like Trials of the King, which I really enjoy as well. But bounty missions, they fixed it. You get to activate them unless you're in one of those alliances that has to activate multiple in order for it not to go away, which is also a problem that's been happening, and that deserves its own video, I'm sure. But in the meantime, this month, the month of $1.2 billion for Kabam, has been a tremendous letdown. And then the Thanos boss was introduced bugged and made a very difficult fight so much harder than intended. And it wasn't like it was just this way for a day. It was multiple days, to the point where summoners are still filing help tickets asking for a chance to get some kind of compensation for the items and units used. Thankfully, Kabam has heard all of your help tickets and is formulating some kind of response, hopefully in the next week. But until then, we have the May calendar. And if I was at Kabam, I'm not saying that the calendar has to be the most amazing thing ever, but at minimum, what I would expect from this calendar is not necessarily dungeon artifacts, but when you go to the special, is these Last Stand crystal shards. It's the month of May. This is where we get the Last Stand crystal shards to open really, really disappointing, terrible drop rate crystals. Those things should be there every 7 days. In fact, maybe Kabam already has planned its own special Avengers Endgame calendar with those things. But the fact that we haven't had them incorporated straight away is very confusing to me, because I had somebody just on the live stream tonight say that they opened 3 or 4 of those and got nothing but gold, and it made them want to quit the game. How can a company that is trying to promote the greatest, most successful movie of all time already, with an event that causes people to have such rage over the bad luck and just the drop rates overall, that they want to quit the game that they're trying to hype up at the same time? I mean, Endgame should be the ultimate way to get people to download Marvel Contest of Champions. If not now, when? And so when we have all of that in mind and we go to the May calendar, we'll see we are excited to bring you this month's login calendar. Collect items such as a Tier 4 Class Catalyst Crystal, a Tier 4 Basic Catalyst, and a 3 or 4 star Emma Frost. Remember that the calendar lasts until the end of the month, and there will be no grace days. There will be 5-star Hero Crystal Shards in the last 3 days. So, if you're reading that, you have to think to yourself, even though this is a special month that brings Marvel the most money they've ever seen in the first 3 days of an opening, did they just copy and paste the same message for the same calendar in May as every other month since January? How in the heck in the Marvel calendar is the month of January more exciting than the month of May, given the stakes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Well, when we go to said calendar, we will see a very disappointing and familiar sight. And I don't want to say that this is terrible for everyone, because I do think that these calendars help people who are the middle class of MCOC, and Lord knows they need help. It helps them get a Tier 4 Class Catalyst Crystal. It helps them get a Tier 4 Basic. And those things are still nice, certainly for advanced and in-game players, as well as 755 star shards. But when they announced that 4 stars were no longer going to be allowed to be in story mode from Act 6 and up, that triggered to me the need for not just this Cavalier title for the same Grandmaster shards, but actually a separate Cavalier login calendar that had a 4-star with a chance at a 5-star. And maybe, just maybe, 750 6-star shards. That wouldn't break the game, and at the same time, it would give summoners the ability to have even more motivation to become Cavalier. This calendar was made before 6 stars were really a thing, but it has not adapted to the current state of the game. And I say again, it's a great calendar for people in the middle, people who still really need 4 stars, still probably don't have much 5-star roster, and probably don't have many categories of classes of Tier 4 class catalysts maxed out. But for the people in my alliance and so many others, calendars, while great that they're free, have lost the luster. I would say the thing that maybe people get excited about more than anything else, besides the Tier 4 basic, which you still never can have too many of, is actually the level 2 team revive. That thing, because it's a percent based, still is going to have such value, because 6 stars that are at rank 2 or maybe someday rank 3 are not affected disproportionately like, say, Alliance Quest or Alliance War or just Alliance in general revives and potions would be. But in general, they missed a huge opportunity. The May calendar could have been great. It could have taken the excitement that was started from this insane opening weekend and made it something better. If nothing else, it just seems to me so obvious to have there be those last stand crystal shards in there at a minimum. And like I said, I'm open to the fact that there'll be a special calendar with those, but in-game hype is right now. If you wait 2 weeks to bust out the calendar, you've lost some of the momentum. And from a marketing strategy, you want to keep the momentum going as much as possible, and this calendar just simply doesn't do it. The calendar basically pretends like in-game doesn't exist right now, and that there's no reason to have anything different in May than in the previous months. And that's just bad marketing. I call it like I see it. They had a great chance, YouTube, and they failed.